Nissan's recent concepts have sported some radical designs that have been hard to call boring. The latest concept from the automaker, the Nissan Motion concept, made its first appearance at the Detroit Auto Show, and the SUV is an exciting preview into the future for the brand. As a concept, the Motion looks like it's been styled by a gifted child who just started to play with Legos, but in a good way. Nissan's current SUVs feature round designs that don't really stand out, but the Motion concept doesn't have that issue. It's boxy, chunky, bulky, and rugged. It mimics the IDX sports car concept from a few years ago, but in a larger, more rugged design. We think it looks good. While radical, there are a few design cues that can be found on some of Nissan's current vehicles. The boomerang headlights, which are on the Murano, make an appearance, as does the brand's Xmotion grille, also found on the Murano. The wheels are especially unique and carry a post-apocalyptic look to them. Overall, the Motion concept looks like an answer to the Toyota FTAC concept that debuted at the LA Auto Show. The inside is where things start to get really weird. The concept combines traditional Japanese elements, like wood from a Japanese cedar tree, with a futuristic design, which includes its unique 4+2 layout. Oh, and there are 7 digital touch screens to play with on the inside. Speaking of the interesting seating position, there are 3 rows in the vehicle with 2 seats for each row, allowing for a total of 6 passengers to be in the vehicle at one time. An elongated center console that appears to run throughout the entire length of the cabin is positioned in between the seats. The center console, interestingly, is also made out of wood. Automakers are moving towards placing large, massive screens in their vehicles, but the current trend involves one screen, like Tesla with the Model 3. Nissan decided to embrace a screen-heavy future, and it's bold. The entire dashboard is lined with screens, 3 large ones in the middle with 2 smaller ones on each side. A sizable screen on the ceiling, which Nissan calls a digital room mirror, replaces the traditional rear-view mirror. Lastly, there's a screen in the center console. The screens can be controlled by gestures and eye movements, which sounds like it would be incredibly distracting. But Nissan claims that a voice command system and intuitive controls will help keep the driver focused. The level of tech in the car doesn't stop there, as fingerprint authentication is used to start the Motion concept. And upon startup, an opening sequence that consists of a virtual personal assistant in the shape of a Japanese koi fish jumps from screen to screen. When the vehicle's in autonomous mode, the assistant stays on the main screen, assisting with navigation and other mundane tasks. Another major tech feature is the inclusion of Nissan's semi-autonomous Pro Pilot system, which should take the hassle out of driving. Nissan hasn't said anything about the Motion concept's powertrain, besides the fact that it comes with the brand's intelligent all-wheel drive system. There are a ton of other little features that can easily be overlooked on the car, but the best part of the Motion concept is that it makes Nissan relevant again. And the automaker has finally made something that we can be excited about. The concept would have fit in better with the high-tech crowd at CES, but we're happy Nissan brought the SUV to Detroit. Chinese automakers aren't popular in the United States, but that's something Guangzhou Automotive Company, GAC Motors, is looking to change. GAC brought a good-looking 2-door SUV called the Enverge to the Detroit Auto Show to get its name out in the open before its official launch in 2019. As far as electric vehicles go, the Enverge is wearing a futuristic design, something that a lot of EVs miss out on at the moment. The grille-less front end allows GAC to tack on a massive badge onto the front of the vehicle, while the headlights wrap around the entire front end of the vehicle. Another nifty feature of the headlights is that they slide out and can be used as floodlights, similar to some of the LEDs found on the Toyota FTAC concept. The front end looks like an angry snake, which is pretty aggressive for an EV and a crossover. The Enverge concept has a pinched rear end that mimics the Toyota Prius with a rear tail light design that wraps around the rear end. The SUV's design is striking, especially when you take the gull-wing doors, something that's usually found on supercars, into account. The design, as the Chinese automaker claims, is supposed to appeal to young consumers in the US. If the exterior doesn't draw buyers in, the interior certainly will. There's a Formula One inspired steering wheel with a few steering wheel mounted buttons within reach of the driver's thumbs. Instead of a traditional dashboard, there's an enormous flat screen that provides necessary information, the car's speed, navigation, etc. While the majority of enthusiasts enjoy sitting in the driver's seat, the passengers in the back of the SUV are treated to something even more high-tech: panoramic augmented reality goggles that take information on things outside of the Enverge and lays them onto the opaque windows. Power-wise, the SUV features a 71 kWh battery pack that gives the vehicle a range of 370 miles, which is 120 miles more than the Byton crossover concept from CES. GAC also claims that a 10-minute charge allows the Enverge concept to go up to 240 miles. A wireless charger will be available for the production-ready version of the vehicle. The SUV has a claimed output of 240 horsepower, which is put down to all four wheels and can get to 60 miles per hour in less than 4.5 seconds. The vehicle tops out at 99 miles per hour. The 0 to 60 miles per hour figure is right on par with what the Tesla Model 3 recently did. A production version of the Enverge concept would certainly be an interesting vehicle for GAC to enter the North American market. Lexus unveiled the LF One Limitless concept at the North American International Auto Show, and its executives can barely contain their excitement over a possible production version. As Lexus North America's general manager Jeff Bracken exclaimed, "We have to build this vehicle." Ward's Auto reports he later clarified his statement by saying it wasn't a production announcement, but nevertheless we couldn't be happier if we turned this into a production vehicle. Lexus already offers the compact NX and midsize RX, but the company is lacking a crossover to battle the likes of the Audi Q7 and Mercedes GLS. Bracken says this represents a gap in their lineup, so a production version of the concept would be a huge addition for us. He went on to say that we absolutely need this vehicle and noted how many sales the company is missing out on by not having something like the LF One in their lineup. Lexus currently offers the GX and LX, but it wouldn't be the first automaker to be eyeing an alternative to their truck-based offerings. Cadillac, for one, is expected to introduce a 7-seat crossover in 2019 that will slot beneath the popular Escalade. Last year was a notable one for automotive enthusiasts looking to get into an affordable but fun-to-drive hot hatchback. At the Detroit Auto Show, Hyundai tossed its hat into the ring with the new Veloster, and that captured our attention. Volkswagen was at the show, but the German automaker had a more serious hat on. At Detroit, VW unveiled the new 2019 Jetta and a sportier Passat GT, but there wasn't anything fun on display. Sure, Volkswagen had unveiled the facelift Golf family at last year's New York Auto Show, but there wasn't anything exciting for the family. No massive spoiler for the GTI. No drift mode for the Golf R. It was all serious stuff, which got us thinking about a time when VW didn't take things so seriously with the Golf. Back in 2007, when the Mazda Speed 3 was one of the craziest hatchbacks you could purchase, Volkswagen created, what is still to this day, one of the most insane hot hatches ever conceived. Called the Golf GTI W12-650, the one-off concept was built off of a Mk5 GTI. It featured the 6.0-liter W12 engine from a Bentley Continental GT that was longitudinally mounted into the middle of hatchback. The monstrous power plant was good for 650 horsepower and 550 pound-feet of torque, which were, and still are, supercar figures. As a result, It could sprint to 62 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, in 3.7 seconds and hit a top speed of 202 miles per hour, 325 kilometers per hour. The Golf GTI W12-650 also looked the part, as it was 5 inches wider and sat 3 inches lower to the ground than a regular Golf GTI. With power going to the rear wheels, which, with the exception of BMW, is practically unheard of for hatchbacks, the concept wore massive 295mm tires at the back and 235mm rubber at the front. There are so many other little details that make the GTI W12-650 concept one of our favorite machines to wear the VW badge, like its heavily reworked chassis, enormous air intake at the front, reshaped rear windows and futuristic rear bumper. While we never expected Volkswagen to put the concept onto the road, Auto Week reports that the German brand's new boss, Martin Winterkorn, wanted it to act as a sign of his intention to transform the automaker's conservative image. Now that VW is looking to reinvent itself after its Dieselgate scandal and moving towards electric vehicles, it's unlikely that we'll ever see a car or a concept like the Golf GTI W12-650 ever again. That's a shame, because a hot hatch with the performance of a supercar not only sounds amazing, but it would give enthusiasts something to be excited about. Cars like the Jetta, Passat, and Tiguan don't really do that, do they? Porsche has said it won't do another hypercar until the technology has developed to mark a significant leap forward from the 918 Spider. With the 918 being a hybrid, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect its replacement to be powered by an all-electric drivetrain. One take at the 918 successor is the 9E1, a study from French designer Romain Gavin, who has drawn inspiration from the inimitable shape of the 911 and applied it to a futuristic electric hypercar concept. That includes design cues such as a pair of round headlights, a gently rounded nose, a long front hood, an upright windscreen and a rear end sloping down to an enveloping strip of tail lights. The muscular rear haunches also look like a suitable evolution of the 911, and Gavin has even gone so far as to envision placing the main battery pack all the way at the back to preserve the 911's signature position of the engine. All in all, its futuristic design is definitely suitable for a future hypercar. On the other hand, Porsche prefers evolution rather than revolution, although its designers obviously have more freedom with hypercars than with the glacially evolving 911.